Thanks very much, Matt, and thank you all for coming. It's great to see such a range of people. It's not our typical audience. It's people from HSE, from the environment sector, for economic sector, etc. So it's really, really good to have such a range of people, and not wanting to repeat what others have said, but it's also great for us to be able to work with the HSE and combine together to organise a conference. I think last year it was very novel. We said we'd try it out, see how it worked, and it was such a success that we're certainly keen to continue on the participation. And it's all down to really hard work behind the scenes by staff from both the HSE and EPA. And Matt this morning referred to the State of the Environment report that we published last year, Ireland's Environment and Assessment. That is our our keynote document that we publish once every 4 years. And it's the analysis and assessment on the condition of our environment, the interdependencies, stressors, and emerging challenges. And the report, as you might recall, identified 7 key messages. There were 3 systemic challenges. The first being, and again Matt has referred to it, is this link between health and well-being and a clean environment. We also identified climate change and implementation of environmental legislation as key challenges. And then there were 4 thematic challenges in the areas of water, nature, sustainable economic activity, and community engagement. So I just want to talk a bit about the link between environment and health, and then the community engagement piece this morning. And I think, as you all will be aware, the link between our health and well-being, or our health and well-being and the environment, are intrinsically linked to the quality of our natural environment. The air we breathe, the waters we bathe in, the blue and green beauty spots that we relax in, noise levels that surround us, odours we experience, the cleanliness of our cities, towns and villages. These all affect our sense of health and well-being, and erosion in the quality of that natural environment through pollution and other human-induced impacts negatively impacts our health and well-being. So the two are inextricably linked. It was interesting to see, and we have a colleague here from the European Environment Agency, that recently the EEA published a review on air quality in Europe, which attributes 1,600 premature deaths in Ireland to pollutants we breathe in the air. So that's in Ireland alone. People, 1,600 people that would otherwise live longer if our air quality was better. We've also seen recent tragedies and the enormous environmental and public health challenges arising from severe storm events. And these events, as we know, are predicted to become more intense and more frequent in future years. So ultimately, we face significant societal challenges flowing from threats to our environment. So whether that be air quality, climate change, or other environmental threats. But the important thing to remember is that there's also really clear co-benefits for our health and well-being in transitioning to a low-carbon, energy-efficient and climate-resilient economy. So there are win-wins if we address these challenges. And Stephanie was talking about some of the areas of health and environment research, and the EPA has been funding research in the health and environment space for many years, whether that be on antimicrobial resistance, water quality and other areas. But there's 2 things I just wanted to touch on because they're quite novel and new for us. The first is the fact that we established with the ESRI a research programme to progress a number of projects looking at the interface between the environment, the economy and health, because none of these things exist in isolation, and a lot of the work we're doing is trying to pull these together. So the topics covered by the research programme are everything from identifying and estimating environmental effects of fiscal instruments, looking at behavioural economics to examine environmental influences on consumer behaviour and experimental testing on the long-term benefits, for example, of the Green Schools programme. So what are the long-term benefits of this investment? Health and well-being benefits of a clean and healthy environment and environmental amenities in Ireland, and environmental market failures. In addition, because of the success of this programme and bringing this multidisciplinary research together, We've also identified 2 further topics which we're now progressing, one of which is estimating the economic value of green and blue spaces in Ireland's urban areas, and the other is looking at evaluating health benefits from green and blue spaces. So this is really, I think, quite novel research, bringing together the economic, the health and the environmental sides, working together rather than either working against each other or working in isolation. And topic 4, which is the health and well-being benefits of a clean, healthy environment and environmental amenities in Ireland, is particularly relevant, of course, to today's proceedings. And that project is investigating the impact of exposure to a range of environmental factors on health outcomes. And the interesting bit here is what they're doing, or we're doing, is linking geocoded individual level data from the Irish longitudinal study, the TILDA study, with local environmental spatial data. And pulling that together, looking at areas such as radon exposure and lung cancer incidence, green space density and body weight or obesity, the coal ban and respiratory health, and also urban noise and health and well-being. So really getting health data, getting environmental data and pulling these together. And of course it's too early yet to report on the result of this work, but what is clear at this stage is that we're learning a lot about the opportunities, but also, of course, limitations of linking a hugely valuable tool like TILDA to environmental spatial data. And this is a real live example of how social, political sciences, natural sciences can work together better to develop new areas of knowledge with concrete policy and societal implications. The other, and I think both Matt and Stephanie may have referenced it, Matt certainly, is the joint project that we're working with the EPA and HSE are working on establishing a set of priorities for environment and health research in Ireland. And I think every single person in this room will probably identify something they think is really important in this area, but actually having a kind of a coordinated research, looking at what are the areas that we should be focusing on, is really important. And this exercise is seeking to identify knowledge gaps, research needs, and areas of strategic importance for Ireland in environment and health research. The main output of the project will be a roadmap and a set of priorities for Ireland in this area. And I would anticipate that the outputs from this work, as well as the relevant outputs from the EPA ESRI work, will inform discussions next year's event, but also inform our research work that we're doing and the work that we're doing with the HSE as well. So that's kind of, I suppose, just wanted to talk about that work that we're doing. We're really focusing on it, putting a lot of effort into it and looking at those collaborative opportunities. But the next aspect I just wanted to touch on was really to look at the environmental challenge dealing with community engagement. And we identified this as a specific challenge in the State of the Environment report. But I think we also need to acknowledge that this challenge is less well developed in terms of coordination, integration, messaging, supports, and methodologies than these 6 other environmental challenges we identified. But yet, I think we all recognise it's crucially important when considering how we meet and address the other environmental challenges that we've identified, that we need this community engagement piece. So the action requires that we need to inform, engage and support communities in the protection of the environment. And of course the theme here today is all about that and these opportunities. And I'm certain as well, looking at the list of speakers, that we'll have really many positive takeaways from today that will also add to the impact and effectiveness of our respective policy implementation challenges. And we in the EPA are very keen to foster community engagement and to provide the supports required to empower citizens to become more informed about, engaged with environmental well-being and sustainability issues. We recognise, of course, our important role in providing online, up-to-date and accessible information on the environment to stakeholders. And what we're really doing as a group of 400 scientists is working hard to make environmental information interesting and relevant to the public, to stimulate increased engagement with the environment and to mobilise those sustainable behaviours. So it's all about translating very scientific data to information that's interesting and relevant to people. We have a very strong track record in providing good quality information, reliable, independent information, and that's everything from complex data sets that we publish in opengov.ie to other platforms like beaches.ie, Live Green, My Local Environment, Catchments and others. And in addition, in order to facilitate greater public access to environmental compliance information, what we've now done is expanded the amount of information available on regulated sites that's up on the website, the EPA website. So information about compliance information on regulated sites is now available freely on the EPA website. And we've been recognised as an exemplar in Europe in providing this type of information. So if you are interested in a site that's regulated by the EPA, you can go onto the website and you can find that information. But of course we recognise that public access to information is not enough, and we in the public sector with a role in environmental protection need to get much better at engaging with the public on the challenges to our environment, and more importantly engaging with and assisting them in making a difference at individual, community and at a business level. The emerging role of social sciences in public engagement and behavioural change is now fully recognised in the EPA, as well as with fellow agencies, in delivering well-being, but also in assisting in delivery that transition to a low-carbon society. And I know a number of speakers are going to talk about this today. I suppose we've moved from a space of providing information and expecting people to act on that information to really actively working on how we assist transition and how we make sure that people are able to engage with and take necessary action. And a key priority for us in the coming years is working with others to advance and promote citizen science, particularly in the areas of air quality, water quality and sustainable behaviours. And we see loads of opportunities and benefits in closing the loop where citizens to whom we've been delivering information become active participants in co-creating environmental data, particularly within local communities. And citizen science in itself offers huge opportunities not only to further scientific knowledge, but probably more importantly, to educate and engage people on environmental matters. So while we probably always didn't refer to it as citizen science, many aspects of the EPA work actually were in this space, and we focused on this type of engagement. An excellent example would be the EPA's See It, Say It app, where individuals can support enforcement effort at a local level. Another example is a survey we've recently completed on national average indoor radon concentration, and that's going to be published very soon by the EPA. And that included work. We were testing over 700 homes for radon. But during these tests, homeowners also provided back data to the EPA on house type, age, insulation, for example. And that data will ultimately help us to understand the behaviour of radon in different types of and ages of homes, and then from that improve the advice we can give to homeowners. So it's really about citizens helping us to be better at providing information and supports. We're very keen to further advance our work in citizen science and engagement beyond the existing initiatives we've got. One example of this is the new National Air Quality Monitoring Programme. It was published earlier this month, and it's aiming to provide much more up-to-date air quality information at a localised level to enable people and the public to make more informed decisions. But we know that the success of that programme in terms of improved air quality and better health outcomes requires the engagement of the public to increase awareness of air quality issues and associated health impacts. And now I know Pat Kenny is going to be talking from the EPA, we'll be talking more about this later today. And to support this engagement, the EPA have now teamed up with Ontashka to support the GLOBE programme, the International Science and Education programme that connects teachers, scientists and students to better understand the Earth's environment. And initially our interaction on the GLOBE programme is going to be on air, and it's going to involve a pilot programme in a number of primary, secondary, urban and rural schools. So we're very excited about that as a real positive initiative that's directly related to the work of the EPA, and also, as I said, supports both the environment and health aspects. But lastly, I suppose engagement is a two-way street. It's clear that we as citizens will need to get more involved locally and become more informed about and engaged with environment and sustainability issues. We need to take personal responsibility in the transition required. It's not always about what others are doing, it's also about what we can do and what we should be doing ourselves. And it is the work and protection at a local level, the recognition of the common good, that contributes significantly to the overall state of the environment in Ireland. We as state bodies have a really important role in supporting homes, businesses and local communities in adopting low-carbon sustainable practices through fiscal measures, regulatory interventions, education and awareness. But if we're actually going to make a substantial social progress in these issues, we need widespread and willing public engagement and participation at all of those levels. So whether it's an individual, a family, a business, community level as well. So we all own the environment, it's a common good, and we have responsibility, all of us, for its care and protection. Because after all, it's our health, it's our well-being, our economy, and our very culture that depend on it. We've an awful lot to do, and we've an awful lot to do together and working together. So we look forward to your support and collaboration in furthering this work in the coming months and years. Thank you.